All right, we're back. Welcome back, everybody. This is another live art stream where we're going to be working on this charcoal drawing here. We started this in the last stream, and I don't know if we'll get it done during this stream, but we're definitely going to work on it and see if we can get it to work. Today's stream, I hope, runs a little better because I dropped the bit rate on it, so hopefully it works better. But we'll see. So yeah, we're gonna get started. But before we do, a couple of things I wanted to bring up from last time. One, I mentioned that I didn't have my reference picture printed off last time, but here it is. Here, it's just a picture of downtown Chatham, my hometown, that I took on a rainy night. I think in like January of 2016. December or January 2016. So yeah, this is what I'm working on. Just snapped this photo with my phone, printed it off, because what happens is I usually like find something that I think will look good as a piece of art, and I'll snap a picture of it and say, well, this will be something someday. And then sometimes it takes me a couple of years, but it eventually becomes something. Also, something I neglected to mention the last time, if you're going to be working with charcoal, it is extremely important, even more so than paint, I would say, to wear stuff that you don't mind if it gets dirty. Because charcoal will get everything dirty. Okay, because you're going to inadvertently, touch your clothes, or just the charcoal dust is going to get on your clothes and it's going to smear. So just be cognizant of that. Wear stuff that you don't mind if it gets dirty. You can also do, as I'm doing today, I'm wearing black sweater and just some black track pants. Very simple, very basic, because if charcoal gets on this, it's not a big deal. Charcoal does wash out. Sometimes you might want to use a stain remover just to make sure, but charcoal does come out, but it's still going to get all over everything. So don't wear white if you're working with charcoal, unless you don't care at all how you end up looking. So with all that, first thing we're going to do is my bag of charcoal supplies here, we're going to find some charcoal pencils. I'm really going to have to re-up my supply of charcoal pencils because I'm running low. I'm gonna grab my sharpener, some smudging, blending stumps. We're gonna need one of these white erasers eventually. Not right now, but eventually. Oh, this is the eraser I was telling you guys about last time. Actually not this one, but this is another eraser that you can use. All right. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to invest in some new charcoal pencils, because my two most viable ones right now are that size. So that's great. So I hope you all are having a wonderful evening. I don't know where, I guess some of you, depending on where you're watching, it may not actually be evening. Where I'm at, it's evening. Good old Eastern Daylight Time. Okay. So, another thing that we need, of course, is our paper that we can put on here so that we don't accidentally smudge a whole bunch of stuff on the drawing. You will get smudges, but you try to keep the smudges to a minimum. And let's grab our reference image. And actually, I'm going to grab a pin and pin it up because that'll just be easier. So let's put it right here. There. Real simple and easy. And all right, let's get drawing. So I'm going to tuck this in behind here so that it'll stay in place a little more. I have my fan on today because the other live streams that I've done have gotten really, really warm while I'm here. So we're going to start today with doing some branches on this tree that's in the distance. And it's just going to be branches because, like I said, I took this picture in the winter time, so there's not going to be any leaves, and it's also not going to be overly detailed because it is in the distance and it's going to get a little bit blended out when we put in the sky. So someone was asking last time, I'm not exactly Bob Ross, but if you feel compelled to follow along to any of the work that I'm doing, I mean, by all means. I, of course, will own the copyright of all the original work I do, but if you want to just practice along and all that, that's, hey, that is perfectly fine. There we go. All right. So we've got our tree here. I think the next best thing that we can do right now is sort of block in this building back here, because we're going to do something cool with this building. We don't have to put any sort of detail on this because of what I'm planning to do. That's a secret for now. But we can at least block in the color and everything. And then once we do that, we're going to throw in this little bridge here where there's a sidewalk. We'll do that. And then I think we'll put in the sky. I think those will be the next steps. So. And if you guys are watching and you want to throw it in the chat, like how you found this channel or what drew you to it, I'm always interested in stuff like that. Because I know Twitch isn't exactly known for live art. It's more for the video games. I mean, that's what I used Twitch for years. I didn't stream video games, but I watched them. Still do. So I'm just just curious how you guys found this. Also, if you want to just like say hi in the chat, like I like that too. All right. So with this building here, because it is in the distance, further in the distance than these buildings here, it is going to be a little lighter. It's still going to be dark, but it's going to be brighter than the two buildings in the foreground. So we're going to get our charcoal stick, like so. And we are going to fill it in, but we're going to fill it in a little lighter than we did last time for these other two buildings. You'll find when you're doing this, you will pick up the texture of the paper, and you'll pick up the texture of anything that might be behind the paper. You know, there are many many drawings that have the background of, you know, a dining room table, you know, We're talking years and years and years ago when I would just draw with pencil. Because if you'll remember, I actually didn't like... What's up, Jake? Yes, I did figure out how to get rid of that box. Yes. When I was younger, I didn't like using charcoal. I actually hated charcoal. I would much rather use pencil. So, okay, we're gonna get our blending stump. We'll come back up here, and we'll just start blending this out. And again, this is very rudimentary. It's gonna look a little janky until I go back over it. But right now we're just laying in the basic shape. Very simple. Nothing too elegant at all. Now, you'll hear a lot of people say that when you're creating art, you don't admit to your mistakes because people won't know their mistakes. They'll just end up being impressed, which is fair, but that's not who I am. So I'm going to admit to you, I did not use enough charcoal to this part. I did not use enough charcoal. Now, thankfully, that mistake is very rectifiable. It's very easy to fix. We just need more charcoal. Now, you might be wondering why I left this space open, and it's because, if you'll see in the reference photo, there's a light there on the building. It's probably a street light or something, and again, with charcoal, it is much, much easier to leave a space white and slightly darken it than it is to like color it in and then try to erase the white out of it, or use a charcoal, like a white charcoal pencil like this one. That's much more difficult. You know, it's funny you mentioned that alert box, Jake, because hopefully on Sunday, if I am technologically advanced enough to figure it out, what I'm going to be doing is I found that you can actually use your phone as a webcam for OBS. So I'm probably going to switch over to OBS and stream from there instead of streaming directly from my phone. Especially because I've been trying, and like Streamlabs, the app just will not, under any circumstances, alert me when people follow or anything like that. It's quite aggravating, actually. But it just won't. And I don't know why, and I'm done trying. Yeah, we have trouble with connections here too. I think because my car insurance just renewed, so I think what I'm gonna do with that extra money that I saved, I'm going to pool with Danielle, my girlfriend, and basically just buy better internet. Yeah, connections are tough. Actually, let me use this softer blending stump. Yes. Yes. From what I understand, capture cards can be tricky too. So we're going back to the old using my finger method here. And then we'll get more technical on the third pass of this building. Yeah, that's annoying. I hate it when technology doesn't want to be friends. Okay. So what's happening here is the charcoal is really taking on the properties of the paper, which is why I'm going much darker than I planned on. But again, everything is rectifiable, so everything's fixable. So this building back here that I said wasn't going to be as dark as the buildings in the foreground because that's how light works. I will have to use an eraser to make it lighter, but that won't be too bad. I was hoping I wouldn't have to use this much of the charcoal stick though, because I'm going to have a mess to clean up on my floor after because of all the charcoal dust. But basically what's happening is the charcoal is really picking up a lot of the texture of the paper, which I didn't want it to. Which, yeah, that's why I'm going much darker. But just like trying to figure out streams and trying to fix your car, trying to do anything that has some sort of technical aspect to it, sometimes things just don't work out the way you want it to, and you gotta kind of work around it. And it's annoying, and it's frustrating, makes you want to tear your hair out, but you figure it out. You figure it out. So Jake, you guys settling into your place a little bit more? Because it's been, I don't know if it's been a couple of weeks yet, but it's been like a week, right? Or do I have my dates wrong? I might have my dates wrong. Now I've got charcoal all over my hands again. All right, let's see what we can do to lighten this up a bit. And again, I'm not too worried about detail in this area because we're going to do something cool with it after. That is completely different from charcoal actually. But I do want it to look a little bit better than this. So we're just using an eraser. And just lightening this building up a bit. Okay. Now something that can happen too, because it just happened to me, is the paper ripped a little right here actually, which again is annoying. And it could be any number of things, but it's most likely a symptom of this paper that I got at a surplus at my previous workplace because they were just getting rid of it. This paper may not actually be all that conducive to drawing. Which, again, is frustrating. But, you know what? That's okay, because again, this section is going to be covered up in a way that I will explain once we get there. But for now, it's just one of those things we gotta work around. But yes, in case you're worried about getting into any sort of particular medium, don't you worry. The medium will tell you, one way or the other, whether it's suitable for the thing that you're trying to do with it. If you try to paint watercolors on a canvas, you'll find that the canvas doesn't actually absorb the water, so you're not really going to get anywhere with it. You need watercolor paper. Use the wrong paper. Things may not blend well, if at all. Or, as I just discovered, the paper will rip a bit. So what I'm doing right now is just trying to open this eraser package to bring out this this eraser here, this black eraser that I've never used before. But it is lightening things up nicely. Just try not to drop it. So congratulations, everybody. You're actually getting a look at what happens when art pieces start to go wrong, which they do from time to time. See, there's another rip. Yeah, this paper is just no good. So note to self, don't use this paper again, which is great because I have so much of it. But that's okay. We'll find a good use for it somehow. Okay, so that's lightened up a bit. So I'm going to just keep that building like that. Just going to keep that building like that for now. I'm not going to touch it again because I don't want to I don't want to mess anything up. And now we're just going to move on to the sky, which we're going to use our softer blending stump for that. And the sky is pretty simple, honestly. Like it's not an overly simple sky, not an overly complicated sky. Like it's not there's not like any clouds or anything. It was a cloudy night, but it was more just like a uniform cloud without any sort of variations to it. So we're just going to do that. Blending stump. And we'll start laying in our sky. And of course, up here at the top is going to be darker. And try to get things as uniform as we can. I need my softer blending stump because I've got a blending stump that's like kind of broken. Yeah, there we go. This one's kind of broken in the middle. Yeah, that's much softer. And we're just doing little circles. Blend everything in nice and uniformly. There's still a lot of texture coming in off that paper. You all might be lucky if this deck doesn't actually turn out the way I want. You might actually get to see what happens when nothing works. And I basically am going to redo this picture from scratch. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but it might. And if it does, we'll just roll with it. Won't be the first time I've redone a drawing from scratch. Done that quite a bit. So again, this is kind of a slow and tedious process, but it's you know, part of the game. And the technique I'm using right here is I'm actually using the charcoal stick to kind of load up the charcoal, the blending tool, sort of like you would like loading up a paintbrush with paint. What's funny about the texture that's coming through on this paper that I don't really enjoy, but the funny thing about it is that the paper, like if you were just to feel it, it actually doesn't have that much texture to it. Unless it's the wall behind it. Maybe it's the texture of the wall. That could be it. Let's try something. It's a little impromptu, a little fun, a little crazy. But what if I put another piece of paper behind it? Will that help at all? Okay. Let's repen this. You just fall there. Okay, so now we've got a buffer between the texture of the paint on the wall. I mean, this paper does have a little bit of texture, but maybe now we'll have a little more success in blending smoothly. Yeah, that's already, just from putting this in, I can tell it's already better. Still gonna get a little texture from the paper behind, but still, overall, much smoother, much better. Goes to show how long it's been since I've actually like drawn anything on a wall, that I forgot about wall texture. Where did my paper, oh, it fell over here. Okay. Since we're doing all different blending stuff, I might as well show you guys the the redo is less likely now, thankfully. But I might still redo it. You never can tell with bees. Timothy bees to be exact. I might as well show you how you can also blend with a Kleenex or a paper towel or anything like that. Basically the Same exact method. You're gonna tear up the thing, but that's okay. It basically works the exact same way. But it's not my favorite method to use, so I'm going to stop using it. But yes, a redo is less likely now. The biggest redo I ever did was actually a painting, where a particular painting that I was working on, this thing I think was like 40 by 30, so it was fairly big, and I was going through kind of an abstract phase, like purely abstract, but I was running out of ideas, and I was getting real frustrated, so I just said, you know what, to hell with it. We're not doing this painting anymore, and I just scrapped it. And then just sort of left it alone for, I think it was something like 2 years. That painting just sat there. Didn't do anything with it until I moved up to the place I'm at now. Like the area I'm in, like in the GTA. Moved up here, and I brought that painting with me because I thought, well, I'll do something with it up here. And it found new life as my piece titled Trespass. If y'all want to look that up, head to my website or my Instagram. Shameless plug. It's on there. But yeah, that painting used to, like, if you did like an X-ray of that painting, you would see underneath it is a very like pure abstract, pure form, full of color. Which is funny because Trespass itself doesn't have a whole lot of color in it. It's not quite monochrome, but it's very dark, which tends to be my MO. So. This is working better, but I think I am going to go over it with that eraser once I'm done all this stuff to kind of even out these tones a little bit more. Because it's still not quite blending the way I want it to, which is more or less because of the paper. This paper isn't made particularly for charcoal drawing. I think it's photo paper for like printing out photographs. Because the place that I used to work at sold a lot of paper like that. And I thought it would also work for charcoal, but it's not the greatest. It's not the worst, but it's not the greatest. Yeah. But that's okay. This making art is an adventure. And sometimes you gotta go through some rough patches in order to come out with something that you enjoy. Confucius said that. Okay. So let's try this eraser again. Try to make these tones a little more even. In all honesty, what I'm probably going to end up doing is I'm not going to redo the drawing, but I'm probably going to redo the sky as best as I can on like a flat surface. Because it is just not cooperating the way I want it to. But that's okay. Okay, that's a little better. How does it look on here? Actually doesn't look too bad on the stream screen. But in person there's some things that I would change about it, but I'm not going to be able to do too much of that right now. Like I said, until I get it on a flat surface, which I think once I get OBS up and start, because I can make like a title page and like a home screen page and like a be right back page. What I'm gonna end up doing is when I do charcoal stuff in the future, I'm going to put up like a be right back page, and I'm going to like move to a table or something, or a desk, and have like a camera set up there. Because that works a lot better, I think. Doing drawings on walls works really, really well if you've got like a studio wall, like a studio space wall, that doesn't have like textured paint on it and doesn't have like lines in it. So you have like a nice even surface, which are things that I don't have here. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm very happy that I do have the space to actually do this on the wall. But for future drawings, I'm gonna move to a desk, I think. Because that'll make things a little bit better, I think. But for now, we just make do. And the sky actually isn't turning out half bad right now. Yeah, there's more texture in it than I like, but that can be fixed. Everything can be fixed when it comes to drawings. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend this tree a little bit more so that it looks like it's more in the distance. So I'm just going to, basically what I'm doing is I'm taking the blending stump and I'm just going over the branches that we did to kind of like blend them into the background a little more. just like so. Gives them a little bit less definition. Just like so. There we go. That's better. All right. Now, you got our sky done. We've got our building in the center done. Got these two buildings. I am going to go in with an eraser and sort of like do a few more little, I'll show you that once I'm done this area. But I am going to go in here and like carve out some more areas of detail, right? But for now, we're going to do this area here. So, for this, it's actually going to be easier for me to kneel down. So, I'm going to zoom in with my hands full of charcoal, just to there. And I'm going to move this reference picture down here so I can see it a little bit easier. It's a little bit closer to me. And I want to get something to clean up this this charcoal down here a bit. So I will be right back. Just bear with me. Haha. Just so that I'm not kneeling in a bunch of charcoal dust, because that's no fun. I know visually this is just riveting content, but at least you can chill to some music while I sweep. There we go. Throw that over there. And now we can kneel down and start working on some of these details down here. So, gonna need these. Okay. So what's going on down here? So, it was kind of a rainy night when I took this picture. So the streetscape is a little bit wet. So hopefully, by blending in just the right way, I'll be able to convey that. not covering that up. Okay, I'm not. Good. Just want to make sure my head's not in the way. One thing I am going to do, because we're done with this sky, is I'm going to move this this paper down. Not quite that aggressively. It's not quite what I wanted, but that's okay. So we'll just grab another pin and we'll pin it here. There we go. Where did my charcoal stick go? It's okay, we'll just grab another one. Leave it to me. I'm the only person in this house using charcoal. And I lost the charcoal stick that I was using before. Okay. So that looks pretty good. Now, how are we doing this building? I think it just kind of comes down, and then you get kind of a reflection that's eking out, like so. We'll blend this in. Like that. This song kind of sounds like a Shenmue song. At least the intro kind of sounded like a Shenmue song. Okay. Shenmue is a video game series, in case someone didn't know. I've never played it, but there are a couple of songs in those games that I do enjoy. I think the one I was thinking of that this one sounded like is called Daily Agony, from either the first or second Shenmue. This hole. Oh, we got another pothole. We got another rip. Yeah, this paper definitely does not like being rubbed up on. But okay. This aerosol spray also works really well for getting rid of any eraser marks that you might have. Or eraser marks, like eraser shavings, I should say. That's what I meant. Okay. There we go. All right. So let's see how that looks from a distance. I'm just going to get on the other side of the room here. That actually looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. All right. So how are we doing for time? Oh, we're about an hour in. Not bad, not bad. We might actually finish this drawing today, but what I'm doing with this middle building, what it's going to require me to do is spray workable fixative on this drawing. And what fixative does, if you don't know, is it provides a protective layer, because charcoal, unlike paint, doesn't dry. I mean, it's already dry, right? But you put as much charcoal on here as you want, but over time, if people touch it too much, like, it'll smudge. It will smudge. So what we do is we spray fixative on it. And there are two main types of fixative. There's workable fixative, which you spray fixative on, and then you can draw on top of it, right? you can still edit the picture in some way. And then there's a final fixative, which is like the final spray layer that you put on it. And what fixative does is it provides a coat over top of the charcoal so that basically you won't be able to smudge it nearly as badly. It'll still smudge a little bit, not a whole lot. But like if I ran my hand across this, like I would have a handful of charcoal. If I did that with fixative on it, I'll still have like some charcoal residue on my hands, but not nearly as much, and it won't do as much to ruin the picture. So fixative is a must if you're working on charcoal drawings. Yes, and when you're spraying fixative, spray it in a well-ventilated area. Spray it outside. I mean, it smells like any sort of aerosolized spray. You know, so it's not great to have in an area that's not well ventilated. So try to spray it outside or in like a garage or something where you can open a door. That'll be much better for you. So with that being said, let's work on the mid part here. Now there's not too much we're gonna do with this actually, because basically I'm just gonna be outlining where I want the railing of the bridge and the road to be. That's gonna be the extent of the work in this part. Erase that a little bit. Okay, so according to this, I'm just gonna go over this with a little bit of a darker line, and then sort of blend that in, like so. Okay, so what I'm going to do actually, because this eraser is actually a little bit cumbersome, you can also use the straight edge of a pencil eraser, and that will also work. So let's see if I've got a viable one in here. And I don't, but I've got this one. Just a regular old pencil. You want one that preferably has a good eraser to begin with. But what we're gonna do, very simple, is we're just gonna use that slim edge to do just thinner lines. Let me look at my reference picture, and it looks like starts here got our line differentiating the sidewalk from the curb. It comes all the way down here. Just like so. And comes all the way to the edge. Remember again, if you're working from an image or you're working from life in any sort of way, like my old art teacher said, draw what you see, not what you think you see. That will be the key to your success. Okay. Then looks like there's a pillar here. So I'll just throw that in. Which, I know there's a pillar there because I know what bridge this is, because this is from my hometown. And then we have the railing. There we go. Not bad, not bad, not bad. And then it looks like at least from this drawing, it looks like there's two figures that are in there as well. Very in the distance. They're going to be very muted. They're not going to be detailed at all. And in case anyone's curious, because I mean, I have mentioned it a couple of times, this is the 5th Street Bridge in Chatham, Ontario, looking toward downtown. Because I know some people might be curious, so. But yes, I am from good old Chatham, Ontario. Canada, for some of you who might be watching and you're not from Canada and don't know which Chatham, because there's Chathams all over the place. Ooh, I think this song, pretty sure this song played the last time I did a stream. I like it. What song is this? This is from CXLT, Somewhere in Time. It definitely has that vibe to it. And even though, like I said, this background isn't going to matter too much, I still am going to try to add a little bit of a variance here. I will say, if you guys try to find this, it's like just a black eraser. It's actually working really, really well in terms of lightening up this charcoal. Like, I'm genuinely impressed at how well it's working. I've never used this one before. This is new. Cool. All right. Let's get those eraser shavings off of here. And just like any sort of artistic endeavor, being able to draw what you see and not what you think you see takes practice. Because our brains are very, very, very good at filling in information that it thinks it knows already. Such as, oh, I know what a person's face looks like, or I know what a car looks like, or I know how light works, and shadows and all that. But the truth is, our brain fills in a lot of information because our brains are lazy. And it can actually kind of mess up what it is that's actually visible. Which is why you draw what you see and not what you think you see. So yeah, these people that are here are actually very distant and almost ghost-like. It's very interesting, actually. Gonna run the blending stump over them. Like so. and we're going to get our smaller eraser. We're just going to go through these reflections a bit so that it looks like they're watery reflections. Just like so. There we go. So now we've got our two figures here. Let me bring the drawing in, or bring the camera in. So there we go. So overall that turned out pretty well, actually. For all the drama as to how the sky was going, I'm actually pretty pleased with this whole area. Yeah. So actually, I'm just gonna do two things here real quickly. There. What I did, I just added a little bit of white charcoal pencil to the top of this person's head, because in the reference photo it looks like they're wearing like a white hat or something. So I just wanted to add that little detail in. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to go back to doing a little bit of detail work on these trees. On these trees, we're going to do a little bit of eraser work on these buildings just to give them a little more dimension so they're not just big black monoliths. You know, just so you can kind of tell what's going on a little bit. And honestly, that'll just be mostly just tricks of the light. It's not going to be anything too extensive. But first, I'm just going to add a little bit of detail on the leaves of these trees. Not too much again, just enough to sort of so they don't just look like big blobs. Just like so. Yeah, just gives them a little added dimension. And same with this one here. This one actually I'm going to use the charcoal stick. And again, given that this is a winter, these are obviously evergreen trees, coniferous trees, because they're still full of needles and foliage. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so now we're on to the eraser work on these buildings, and there again, there's not too much, but what I want to do is, you can see very, very lightly in the original reference photo that this tree is actually in front of this building on the side. Now we're not going to do too much because I do want to leave this a little bit dark, like just a little bit black. But I do want to erase enough just to give the hint that this tree is in fact in front of this building. So we're just gonna erase a little bit. And again, not all the way down. I'm not gonna erase all the way down. Just like so. We're just giving the hint that this tree is actually in front of that building. And just to reinforce that, I am going to go over this part with strokes that are going down. To reinforce that there's a mass in front of that tree, or a mass where that tree is. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. Just very lightly sort of erase where we feel the outline of this tree will be. Matching the other side as much as we can in terms of the amount that we're erasing, and that's about good. And now we are going to blend that in a bit, because again, we just want a hint, because this building doesn't have any detail on it that's going to be interesting to the viewer. So we just want a hint again that this tree is in front of this building, but the building itself doesn't have much detail to it at all, so we don't want to. Same with these trees over here. You know, like we don't want to lighten this area too much, because then it's like, well, what's supposed to be there? And the answer is nothing, because there's nothing that interesting. Again, we're just sort of giving the hint that these trees are in front of this building and nothing more. It's just to give the semblance of space. And to give the semblance that the trees are just a little bit, because they're in the foreground, a little bit darker than the building. Just like so. We'll do the same thing on this side. just like that. And as you can see now, there's a little bit of lightness to the outlines of these trees. And just erase a little more. There we go. And that worked out pretty well, I think. And we're basically going to do the same thing down here, because this is actually the corner at which this building ends, right? So we're just gonna, again, that's a little too much erasure, but you can always go over it with some more charcoal. But we're just kind of giving a hint as to the boundaries of this building. And because the pavement's wet, we are doing a little bit of erasure work here just to give the idea of puddles and light reflections. You know, nothing too crazy. Just enough to sort of reiterate that this space here is pavement and not a continuation of the building. It's just like so. And actually, I am gonna darken this up here because I went a little too light there, but that's okay. Go a little too light, you just grab your charcoal again. And just go back over it, like so. But yeah, that's just, again, just giving you the idea that this this is the boundary of the building. Like so. There. So I think that looks pretty good. So that one is done. Now move on to this building. What are we going to do with this one? Well, let me look at this reference picture a bit, see if I can see anything. Huh. There's going to be a little bit of lightness here. Not too much, just to hint that there's a ledge there. And I'm going to do two sort of like little rectangles here. Where there might be a doorway or of some kind. Some glass doors, or at the very least it's reflecting. There's another one right here. And nothing too crazy. What I am going to do is I'm going to go over that, blend that over again just a bit. We're going to get our blending tool. Just blend that again. Just like so. Yeah. I think that looks pretty good. And I know this is going to seem a little... Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. This is fine the way it is. Okay. I think I'm almost out of air in this canister. Gonna have to go get a new one. That's okay. All right. So now we've got a little more depth. So again, these aren't just like big monolithic structures. They're actually, you know, there's something there. So now, what I was thinking of doing, let me just search something real quick, because if it's okay, then I might not even worry about this next step that I was going to do before doing what it is that I want to this building. So bear with me, this will only take a second. Okay, so what I'm gonna do real quick, so I'm gonna let you all kind of chill out to this music for a minute or two. I'm just gonna go wash my hands, and then we're going to tackle what it is that we're gonna do with that building. So I will be right back. All right, we're back. Sorry about that delay. So what we're gonna do, I've never done this before, but apparently it can be done. We're going to throw some paint on this drawing. Yes, indeed. We're going to, because in these other paintings, you know, like that one that's hanging sideways, we have that little bit of abstraction, right? Well, it's much harder to do that with charcoal. I mean, in terms of like that kind of abstract, because I can't just grab a palette knife and scrape it over the surface of this charcoal and expect it to do anything. It won't do anything, right? But I can put some paint on here, and we're going to match the colors as best as we can, and we are going to keep these light areas. Like, there'll be paint, but they'll still be light, right? And this is, because it's photographic paper, I'm fairly sure this is acid-free paper, so the acrylic should be fine. And the acrylic isn't going to hurt the paper at all, because acrylic is a plastic polymer paint. So it should be just fine. Okay. And because this is a charcoal drawing, it's going to be very, very basic coloring. I mean, primarily black and white. I might throw a little bit of like a brown tone in there just to give a little bit of variance, but overall, I think we're mostly going to be working with black and white here. But we shall see what happens. That's what this is all about, right? Just experimenting. Like I said, this is a big experiment because I've never done this before, but with this show concept that I have with these other paintings where reality is sort of deconstructing itself, I do want to include drawings in there. You know, look at that. I'm enjoying this already. This is actually going on very, very smoothly, I must say. And with this piece, I'm not actually going to have any abstraction anywhere else. Just on this building. Now, this seems like it's working out great so far. Who knows how it'll turn out once the paint is dry? I don't know. But that's for future us to figure out. It seems like this paint's actually drying very quickly, which is, I mean, makes sense because it's acrylic, but also I didn't expect it to dry that quickly. That's very interesting. I just want to say again that I appreciate all y'all who are watching, sticking around. Makes me feel good that there are a million things that you could possibly be doing on this Thursday evening, and yet you're choosing to spend the time with me, which I appreciate. I appreciate very much. And again, for some reason on this app, which I'm hoping when I switch over to OBS for Sunday's stream, I'll be able to rectify it. But on this app, I'm not getting any alerts. So if anybody is deciding to follow me, I do appreciate it. I wish I could call you out by name, but I don't have the means to do so right now. But that will change on Sunday, because I will actually have access to stream alerts. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of shoring up the line of delineation between these two buildings. The nice thing about this acrylic paint is it's covering up the pieces of paper on here that ripped. The parts of the paper that ripped. which is very, very nice. I must say again, I'm very pleased with how this is turning out so far. Hopefully it continues that way. Oh. Time for my handy dandy paper again so that I don't smudge this charcoal all over the place. Excellent. So we're basically doing the same kind of thing with the palette knife on here as we were doing in the other paintings. Very same thing. How are we doing for time? We got about 15 minutes left. Perfect. There we go. I'm just going to do a little more of that delineation work on this building here. And any of the paint that spills over onto the charcoal, that's okay. I can just go back over that with charcoal once it's dry. Which it's drying very quickly, so shouldn't be too big an issue. And then, like I said, because that light was here, we're going to put in some of this abstracted white paint here to show that there is some sort of light in this area. Yeah. So once that's a little drier, we're going to go back